Bruins open tonight here on 98.5 The Sports Hub at Washington. Give you a 5-minute Bruins preview here. You want to go first, Mazz? What do you think?
No, I'll just tell you that that comment right there, I can't tell you how many people that I know inside and outside of hockey have sent me that in the last,
Why?
Because they think it's outrageous.
What's outrageous about
that
it?
people are going to be circling us and saying, "Oh, we have to play them again." Like that's number one.
It's going to be more like how we go through a Patriots schedule and you get to the Saints and we all go, win.
Exactly. And the other part of it is the idea that you're going to find goal scoring somehow in the middle of the season. How's that going to work?
So that's the part that interests me the most.
Okay, go ahead. I'm just curious as to how.
Okay. Well, it's not in their organization. That's the answer. I think he's alluding to something else. Like they got something up their sleeve or they had something up their sleeve. Like he referenced it a couple times. All right, so I'll just start at the beginning. This is a really, really underwhelming team. I'm going to read you the lines quickly, and it's going to make your eyes gloss over. Their first line is Elias Lindholm, Morgan Geekie, David Pastrnak. Okay. There's like one player there that is a legit top-line, first-line player. Elias Lindholm is at best a number 2 center. Completely underwhelming. Came over last year. You barely know it because you barely noticed him. About the quietest, most invisible season I've ever seen a number 1 or number 2 center have. Elias Lindholm.
And ESPN picked Morgan Geekie to be like one of their top 5 regression players this year.
You don't say. Morgan Geekie, goals per year. You tell me what's
what's the outlier?
What's the outlier? Goals per year, Morgan Geekie. 3, 3, 7, 9, 17, 33.
Yeah.
Okay, you tell me which way Morgan Geekie's going to go this year after signing that contract.
Down.
That's your first line. Second line, Pavel Zacha playing the wing, I guess. On one side of Casey Middlestat and Victor Arvidsson. Oof. Third line, Tanner Jeannot, Fraser Minton, Michael Eyssimont.
Who?
Fourth line, Hunadistov, Marat Hustadinov, Sean Corrali, Mark Kastelik. That fourth line is your normal fourth line. I don't have a problem with the fourth line.
These lines.
Okay, please
fluid.
don't. Please don't. That lineup is so wretched. That forward group is so bad. And so when Neely says, we tried to boulder the offense in the offseason, it didn't come to fruition. And they said we need to keep the puck out of our net and be tough to play against, knowing we can add offense somewhere, and we hope to address that during the season. I think he's talking about trades.
Could you get to the deep pairings, though?
The deep pairings are okay.
Are they?
Lohrei, McAvoy, Lindholm, Peak, Zadorov, Yokiharu.
Zadorov's okay. I only bring that up because...
And Yokiharu's an NHL guy. He was in Buffalo. The defense is fine.
In reading Greg Wyshynski, the puck daddy who does like all the NHL stuff for ESPN, like he had his predictions, and he had them behind Detroit, Buffalo, and Montreal. And he said if the defensive core is healthy in front of Jeremy Swayman, they could grind out some wins for first-year head coach Marco Sturm. And by defensive core, we essentially mean Charlie McAvoy. That's why I ask him, like, because I know some of the names, but their D ain't great either.
I'm worried about Lohrei still. What was he last year? Minus 45?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that would be a pretty big jump if he could somehow become, let's just say, a plus 15. Okay, and so that one I need to watch. I know he's with McAvoy. I get it, but his defensive work needs work, a lot of it.
So they're obviously going to have to win by keeping the puck out of the net, packing it in defensively. They're going to be a neutral zone trap team. Marco Sturm played for Claude Julien and Daryl Sutter there with the Kings back in the days when it was heavy trapping and packing it in and defense first and goaltending on the net out. And all. That's obviously what they're going to be. That's the only way they can do it. And if they do it right, I think they can make the playoffs. I'd be disappointed if they didn't make the playoffs. They're built to make the playoffs. What I mean by that is that they're not a great roster. That's not what I mean. But this is not a roster that you take to the ice to have a top 10 or top 5 draft pick. You still have a franchise goalie who I can't stand, but he's a franchise goalie. You have a number 1 defenseman who is grossly overrated, but he's a number 1 defenseman and one of the top 5 scorers in the league. So Swayman, McAvoy, Pastrnak. Never mind both Lindholms, who I find underwhelming and don't like, but they're,
No, they're professional players.
Elias Lindholm is a top 4 defenseman, and Elias Lindholm is a top 6 forward. You're not going to tank. You're not going to go to the bottom of the league with Pasternak, Elias Lindholm, Hampus Lindholm. You're not going to go to the bottom of the league with McAvoy in there. You're not going to go to the bottom of the league if Jeremy Swayman rebounds just a little and plays better than he did last year. You're not going to go to the bottom of the league. You might just miss the playoffs, but if you're going to just miss the playoffs, you might as well just make the playoffs. So I think they can make it. I've got my DraftKings app open. I'm trying to find the over-under, and I'm trying to bet the over. I think their point total last year, I think they had 78 points last year. And I think their over-under this year, Kevin, maybe you could help me, is 78.5. Isn't it the same as it was last year? If I'm not, I heard someone say this earlier today that their over-under was the same as they had last year. They're going to be better than last year. I don't know if their roster's better, but that's not the way hockey works. I'm not talking about their roster being better or worse.
I got you.
They played like a bunch of a-holes last year because they were a fractured team. They were a mess. And they were a mess from the coach and the goalie on out. The goalie with his contract and not getting any support in the room, and the thing with him and Marchand and Pasternak had a thing. That's true, folks. Never mind the coach who didn't get extended but knew he had a deal waiting for him in St. Louis, and so was sort of, asking the team, begging the team to fire him. The whole thing was a joke.
They have him at 80.5.
80.5, I thought it was 78. I'll still go over 80.5. I'll go over 80.5. I think they're going to be a playoff team. I think they're going to be better than they were last year. The roster's not better, but they're going to play better because all this other stuff is gone. The Montgomery and Marchand, Pasternak's still here. I think he's a horrible leader, but they didn't make him a captain. They didn't make him a captain for a reason. Back to my original point. What's Cam Neely carrying on about? We tried to bolster the offense in the offseason. It didn't come to fruition. Is he talking about a real big fish? He's talking about someone substantial that you would give the captain to? Maybe there was a trade that they thought they had worked out, came up just short. We'll table it, and we'll see how it goes, and we'll revisit it. Brady Tkachuk, I don't know. You mentioned a guy that you would, as part of the pitch to get him here, is you become captain. They still don't have a captain. I hope that it goes beyond the fact that David Pasternak's a child and a lousy leader, and Charlie McAvoy's a baby and a bad leader, which I think both things are true. They're not captain material, but I hope it goes beyond that. I hope they're saving it for someone who deserves it. And maybe, I don't know. Cam kept going on about knowing there's ways to address it during the year and we'll address it during the season. He's not talking about calling up Fabian Lysell. That's not what he's referring to. Or getting 25 goals out of Casey Middlestat. That's not what he's talking about.
Middlestat apparently is as much of a rail as he was a year ago.
Sucks.
Yeah, no weight put on him, no strength, no nothing.
The forward group is smelly.
Wretched.
And the only shot they got is to pack it in, score on the power play, and hope Swayman gets his head out of his ass.